Did you know that creditors might not even know your trust exists, let alone what assets are in it? Your trust can be a hidden shield for your assets. So let's dig into how that works and what it can do for you. Hi, I'm estate planning attorney Mike Smith with Smith Barid LLC, and I'm one half of the estate planning guys. Today we're covering one of the biggest questions that I get in estate planning. How can trust protect my assets and keep them away from prying eyes like creditors? So many people think that, when financial trouble strikes, creditors have a direct line to all their assets, including those in a trust. But here's the thing, a properly set up trust can offer unique protections. So imagine a scenario where creditors might come looking, but because your assets are held in a trust, they hit a legal wall. It's one of the biggest misconceptions out there that creditors can easily access trust assets, when in reality, there really can be layers of protection if you've structured it right. So how exactly do trusts protect you? Well, for one, trusts operate under privacy laws, and different jurisdictions have different rules around that. So it kind of depends on the jurisdiction where your trust is set up. But unlike assets that are held directly in your name, the assets are held in the trust, and it doesn't necessarily connect you with the assets. And so creditors often find it much harder to uncover information about what's actually in a trust compared to like a bank account or a piece of property, because the trustee doesn't necessarily have to disclose what the assets in a trust are. So here's a case in point. Imagine a person who's facing financial hardship whose assets are mostly in a trust. If a creditor wanted to access the trust, they'd find out that it's just not as simple as sending a notice to the trustee. Trusts are designed to add barriers that other assets don't have, to make it more difficult to either get at those assets or even to know, what the assets are inside of the trust. And in many instances, creditors struggle to find a clear pathway to those assets, especially with certain types of irrevocable trusts in jurisdictions like Nevada, for example, or South Dakota or Alaska. Those are great jurisdictions for these types of asset protection trusts. Here's the big insight though. A well-formed trust can truly shield your assets from creditors, but it's only if it's set up the right way. Not all trusts offer the same protection, so it's critical that you work with an experienced professional to make sure that your trust actually holds up under scrutiny. That, on the day when they knock on the door to serve you with a lawsuit, that your trust is actually going to work. This is the difference in setup, and that can mean the difference between losing your assets or keeping them secured. If your trust is done right, it can be one of the most powerful tools in your estate planning toolbox. So to recap, creditors can see some of your financial situation, but trusts add an extra layer of privacy and protection that other assets can't offer. Trusts aren't an absolute guarantee, but they're often the best defense when used strategically, and they can give you leverage in any type of settlement negotiation around creditor issues. If this video sparked some thoughts for you, drop a comment with your questions or opinions about using trust for an asset protection down below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out our other videos on estate planning tips and strategies. I'm Mike Smith with the Estate Planning Guys.